It's hard for us to imagine now, but some people in the 1940s and 50s had been through some pretty terrible times. They had witnessed terrible atrocities during the Second World Wars, where they had their homes and towns destroyed by bombs, seen people taken away and tortured or killed, and suffered rationing and food shortages. Some people had even witnessed, close up, the abyss of the Holocaust, where an unthinkable and unimaginable number of people, over 6 million, had been systematically and brutally killed by the Nazis. It's no wonder then that some people began to reject cultural and societal structures such as religion and came instead to believe that God was dead. With this thought, and the perception that societal and cultural norms could no longer be relied upon to give life meaning, there came the idea that in fact existence itself was meaningless, that life was absurd. How could life have a point to it if there's no afterlife? Social customs and structures are just a way of distracting us from the truth, that we're all alone, and life is meaningless. This all sounds very depressing, and it can be. However, there can be solace and reassurance to be found in this theory. Well, just because God is dead doesn't mean we can't be good people, enjoying life for its own sake and doing good deeds because we want to, not because we will be rewarded after we die. The playwrights of the time, most notably Jean Genet, Samuel Beckett, Eugene Ionesco and Harold Pinter, also came to see the world as absurd and sought to express this in their plays. For them, the traditional naturalistic structure of theatre at the time was too closely associated with a traditional way of thinking. They sought to break with this by rejecting these established structures and create their own theatrical form. This came to be known as the theatre of the absurd, after Martin Esslin, a critic, had noticed these playwrights' attempts to bring the philosophy of the existentialists into their work. In their plays, narratives become circular rather than linear, echoing the way life seemed to repeat patterns rather than constantly build towards higher goals. Language was undermined and shown to hold no meaning, with the use of cliché, jargon, nonsense words and shallow small talk. Characters were flexible and more representative of ideas or stereotypes than psychologically realistic. And most importantly, naturalism was rejected, as playwrights wanted the audience to access the performance intellectually rather than emotionally, to awaken their minds to the truth of their situation, that life was absurd.